How shall we make every street corner a forum, not a lounging place for trivial gossip and petty gambling, where life is wasted and human experience withers in trivial sensations? How shall we make every house worker, every laborer, a demonstrator, a voter, a canvasser, and a student? The dignity their jobs may deny them is waiting for them in political and social action. We must utilize the community action groups and training centers now proliferating in some slum areas to create not merely an electorate, but a conscious, alert, and informed people who know their direction and whose collective wisdom and vitality commands respect. The slave heritage can be cast into the dim past by our consciousness of our strengths and a resolute determination to use them in our daily experiences. Power is not the white man's birthright. It will not be legislated for us and delivered in neat government packages. It is a social force any group can utilize by accumulating its elements in a planned, deliberate campaign to organize it under its own control. Okay, and I think that's, and see, if we don't go out and engage the community, you know, with these kinds of ideas. I mean, the youngsters out there who are looking for leadership, looking for guidance, looking for direction, looking for sincerity and commitment.
Right.
You know, I mean, it can come from us. All we have to do is go out there and engage them and talk to them. When I was doing violence prevention work in Richmond some years back, I think we started around 95. We had a midnight basketball program in the city. And we had teams from Parkchester Village, North Richmond, Easter Hill, Kennedy Manor, 9th Street, playing midnight basketball. Now, I grant you, those bags that they were carrying around that you thought uniforms were in, they weren't uniforms. They were Tech 9s, MAC 10s, AK-47s, and 38s. But they were in the bag. And the brothers were playing basketball on the court. But the process of getting them to just get to that point, to do that, you know, to make a statement that they could do that and be nonviolent and be together. I mean, I don't, now today those same neighborhoods are shooting at each other, but the point is it was done, and it can be done, and it can be done again. It could be, I mean, all it takes is just going out there and putting your hands on it. I mean, gingerly, lovingly, caringly, and listen to what they have to say, what's on their mind, and what bothers them, and what they're disillusioned about. And that's just that one segment. I mean, there's a lot of other folks out there that need attention as well. But you know, that kind of community organizing, that kind of networking, that kind of relationship building, as Reverend Lawson was saying, is what we got to do. You know, to create the kind of community where people are engaged consciously and doing the kind of work that needs to be done to turn this community around. And Richmond is a unique place. I mean, I'm telling you, man, well, back in the day, when we were selling Black Panther, we could sell 300 Black Panther newspapers a week. We could sell 1,000 Black Panther newspapers a week in the city, but we couldn't get nobody out to a Black Panther rally. But they'd buy newspaper all day long, and we couldn't figure out what that was about. What the hell is that about? And now everywhere else we look, Oakland's going down, Berkeley's going down, San Francisco's going down, it's going down, but Richmond is asleep. Ain't nobody moving, man, ain't nobody. And so it took, when I left and came back, that was my pursuit. I wanted to understand the community I was born in, I grew up in, went to high school and graduated. I didn't know it. I had not a clue what the nature, what the politics, what the culture, what the power relations were, who was making decisions about what, and you know, I didn't know. And I stood around here, like I said, for 2.5, 3 years selling papers, and still didn't know this community. Did not have a clue, because I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't understand these shipyards. I didn't understand Jim Crow shipyards. I had not a clue about Jim Crow shipyards. And when I started studying Jim Crow shipyards and realized what was going on with the first black workers who came out here from the South to set up life, to raise families, and have babies and kids, and they had to go through Jim Crow shipyards. But as I began to learn the politics of that and understand the nature of that and what, you know, the fear that black black folks have, you know, because not only did they come out here, but Jim Crow came with them. And I mean, the fear we had in Mississippi and Alabama, Louisiana, Texas, you know, it came with us to California. And so as I began to understand that, and I began to look at my elders that I used to call cowards, and I used to belittle, and I had disdain for, because I was out in the streets with my fist in the air, and they were sitting around making sure that they had a roof over their head for their babies. I didn't understand that. I couldn't, but it came to me. I mean, it took me a while, but anyway, I get long-winded, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think that understanding, if we could collectivize some clarity around that, I think that would take us a long way into having folks sit down and having a real conversation about what we can be doing.
Well, I think one of the issues is a fear factor of being singled out, pointed out. The larger society, the way that it's responded to issues have been different for the black community and the Latino community probably also. But the black community is very private. I didn't, like Bobby said, he didn't understand the culture of black people. I didn't really understand it until I lived in Louisiana for about 13 years, and I experienced, you know, Jim Crow attitudes on a daily basis, not from all white people, but from some. And then looking at the police apparatus and the suppression of questioning the authority of the ruling class, it has made, and it hasn't changed. You know, there's a lot of issues that we as a society in the Bay Area, in Richmond, that we have to come to grips with, that is still very much present and a part of the way the social movements that happen, you know, around our communities, even in understanding issues around violence in the black community. I mean, the whole issue around work, most young black people in this city and all over the country, they don't want to work for anyone. They would rather work for themselves, but they have not been able to create the kinds of economic opportunities, so they've been driven into activities that get them in trouble, and they've had to create their own system of ethic, policing, and even education. And I think it's very important to interject the way that we educate our kids. We don't have any control over that, and that's very important. And we've definitely lost control of being able to educate our kids in quality education, not just, you know, something to keep them busy, but, you know, to really begin to understand what this society is all about, what the world is all about. I mean, the politics and the economics of the whole world is changing, and I think that we have to be aware of all of those changes and how we can protect ourselves and become a part of the growing spiritual movement to really understand each other. We're all the same, but people still tend to want to believe that we're different, but we're not.
Yeah. The question was, how do we get the black and brown community, people of color, to be involved in this new social movement?